We live in a culture that is inherently anti-respect towards men, okay? So if we want to evolve our relationships, to live in high-functioning, harmonious relationships, union, and family dynamics, we have to be counterculture. Hi, my name is Jessica. I'm a coach for women who are here actively rejecting woke culture, who are actively rejecting the mind virus that is war of the sexes, and who don't believe the future is female. I am supporting women who are choosing to walk in love and as truth and restore and live within their native and rightful womanhood and feminine design, walking hand in hand, rising with good men and leaving a legacy of love in their family. Today, I want to talk to you about respect in anticipation of a program, a 10-day immersion that I'm running called Cherished. So for the next few days, I'll be sharing a video about some of the core topics that we will be covering. If you decide that, yes, I'm loving this and I would love more, then all the details for Cherished are down below. I would love to see you in that potent and powerful 10-day immersion. Respect. Well, I'm sure you've heard by now that respect is the lifeblood for men, and respect is a non-negotiable if we want to experience the love, the support, the cherishment from the men in our life. Respect is something that we are going to have to be in the posture of and give back to him. Now, not as a rule or as a transaction, but rather as an understanding that respecting men is truly living in our rightful design of how we were made to live as man and woman living together. Okay. Now, a lot of women get this piece wrong, and I know I did for many decades until I started on this journey of healing with men and the masculine and really understanding men. Because we live in a culture that is so inherently disrespectful towards men. Now, if you're anywhere near my age, you have been brought up on a steady diet that has told you masculinity is toxic, that the future is female, and that has created an undercurrent of fear in women and this collective feminine pain body. And what this does is it fuels a culture of disrespect. And this disrespect is reinforced in millions of little ways that we're not even realizing as women that we're taking in. So it's all over pop culture, it's all over media, it's all over the personal development space, it's all through feminism, and it's even deep in the goddess culture. Yes, okay, yes. So it becomes really easy and unconscious for us as women to be living in a posture of disrespect, and then also being confused about why we're not experiencing the kind of relating with men that our heart truly yearns for. And here's the thing, your heart as a woman yearns for this high functioning, deeply connected, chemistry, correct relationship with men because your heart knows that that is correct biological design, that is God ordained design. And so we will continue to yearn for this as our soul, as our heart seeks to live in the way that we were always designed to live. Okay. So I wanted to acknowledge that there are real reasons external to us that it has become very culturally pop culture to live in a posture of disrespect. And then couple this with our experiences that we have as women that create pain in our body, that we perceive as let down, we perceive as hurt, we perceive as we're unsupported by men. And then that becomes a very hard space for many of us to live in this like embodiment of respecting men. Okay. And I wanted to share that because you get to take a big sigh out in relief and stop any blame or shame if you know that you have been somewhat disrespecting men on some level, or just not getting it right, or the fruits of your relationship aren't showing you what you desire with men at this stage, okay? So the wonderful thing is you're here now because you obviously want to evolve and enhance your relationships. And the foundation of that with men is living in a posture of respect. And so today, what I wanted to share was that a posture of respect is not just something we do to get the good out of men. And this is really a core teaching through the whole of Cherished, and the whole of what I do is that nothing we do here is transactional. And the moment that we're trying to learn the correct sentence or dress the correct way as women, or behave the right way so we get something out of men, we have reduced a divine cosmic experience that is union between man and woman, that is like we're in this playground of life, to something that is transactional. And it is actually then laced with covert manipulation, because we're doing it to get, and then ultimately it comes from a place of lack, it comes from a place of pain, and then that will not result in the fruition of the relational experiences that you want with men. So I want you to really hear me and understand that we come into a posture of respect with men. And I'm not just talking about your beloved, but men and the masculine as a whole, for something that is not only for them, but it is also for us. One, it is honoring of living in the natural and native design as we were designed to live, so that we can experience life on earth in the most beautiful way, okay? And when we are coming into the posture of respect, that really does something to us as women. It shifts us, it changes us. And now, for a moment, I want you to think of a woman or a collective of women who are very anti-men. And that shouldn't be hard, because it's actually so many women in our culture, whether they're conscious or unconscious of it, but they are anti-men. And you might come to mind, so what comes to mind is like a very strong feminist woman who is saying that masculinity is toxic, the patriarchy needs to be teared down, and the future is female. Now, often the posture that this woman has is she's almost tense. She can be sharp. It's almost like she's fighting, all right? Because she is fighting. She's inherently taking a fight that man are against woman, and one needs to be on top of each other, okay? That posture, that mindset, that belief paradigm, and that identity does something to you as a woman. Firstly, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you hold those beliefs that are rooted in inherent disrespect, guess what you're going to continue to experience and to call in with men? You are going to see the worst of humanity through men, okay? Because your paradigm and your identity that sits within that paradigm, deep in your unconscious and subconscious, is sending out a signal of how you experience the world. And this is a thing that we forget. We don't experience the world as it is. We experience it through our lens of perception, our paradigm, and the identity that we harbor, okay? So these women who are holding an inherent posture of disrespect towards men because of their paradigm, because of their identity, will continue to receive the worst in men. And here's the thing with our brain is so sophisticated that it wants to keep us safe. So whatever paradigm we hold, we are going to be attuned to seeing that in our environment. So what I mean by this, if there are 10 good men in the room and one who is like a man who is dishonoring of women, a woman who is coded in disrespect towards men, who is holding that posture that it is man against woman, the war of the sexes, she is going to be hyper attuned to that one man who is disrespectful and missing or totally downgrading her experience with the 10 good men who are there. Okay. And this is really critical when we understand how our brain works, how our psyche works for receiving and experiencing the relationships, the love, and the family dynamic that we want, that we have to realize it always starts and ends with us, which is really liberating as well. That means like, hey, I don't have to go out and try and change the structures out there. I don't have to go out and try and make every man safe, but instead I work on what's in here and in here and my field of my being, my totality, so mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. And then I start to experience men and the world differently. And therefore, naturally, as a result, without too much effort, okay, it's not conscious effort. We're not in this fight stance. We then start to experience the good of men and better, more easeful, more harmonious relationships and deeper connections, okay? So the posture of respect changes you as a woman and sets you up with the template that is your original template as a woman, because you were born in a respect for man template and for the masculine. It sets you up for success in life, in relationships, in interactions with men, platonic, otherwise, family, romantic, intimate, all of that. And it creates this space within a woman's body, her heart, her psyche, and her soul that feels much better because you are in congruence with how you were designed to be and how the natural law of the universe was designed by God for us to live as women. So I want to leave you with this today, and I want you to feel in your body and have a play with, and maybe after this, put on a song that makes you feel, joyful, kind of lights you up. At right now, I'm getting really into like the music from the TV show Yellowstone, and that is just like talking to my soul so much, along with lots of worship music. Put on a song, shut down your eyes, and just take a few breaths, hand on your heart, and really feel like what would I be embodying? How would I be sitting and moving? What would my thoughts be if I had a deep posture of respect towards men and the masculine? Okay. And how might things change for me based on that? Okay. And you can play with the converse of that, a posture of disrespect, and see what that feels like. Okay. Because once we're in a posture of respect and inviting ourselves to continuously say, well, how can I go deeper into this posture of respect? So deeper might be, I already respect my beloved, but how can I express that always deeper? Like we're on this continuum in a playground of life that we don't stop learning, growing. Okay. So there's always more depth available to us. And then also, how can I widen my respect? So maybe I find it really easy to respect my beloved, but maybe I find it really hard to respect my co-parent, or really hard to respect my dad because he really let me down through your lens of perception. Okay. So how do I widen that in this devotion to, restoring my femininity and living in my natural design, and my devotion to having a really profound and fulfilling relationships with men and being supported and being cherished? Okay. And this is something, the somatic work is something that we will do in Cherished as well, where I will lead you through specific somatic practices that will help to immediately integrate the teachings that we're discussing. And so on this topic, respect, we will go into what actually respect is through the male lens, what feels and is received as respectful by him, what isn't, because sometimes as well-meaning, deep-feeling, big-hearted women, what we think is respect and care is actually not received that way, and we're actually shooting ourselves in the foot. And at day 2 of Cherished, I talk about the difference in the mothering energy versus the muse energy, and the difference, discerning the right tonality and texture of nurturing, because we don't nurture men how we would nurture our children, for example. Okay. So I'd love to know what you received out of this video today. I would so love to walk with you in Cherished. All the details are below. If you would love to share your snippet of this, make sure you head over to Instagram and tag me at jessicajordan.co. I love having this conversation and spreading this message out to as much women as possible.